All right, West Virginia fans, that is as gut wrenching as a loss that you're going to see. One that you couldn't drop, one that you absolutely needed to survive. And you had this big win on Saturday. And just days later, as soon as you get on the bubble, it's quickly deflated. This one's really tough to swallow. This one was the worst loss of the season. And it's just there's not enough adjectives for this one, man. It was a frustrating loss. They deserved to lose this one, and I'm at a loss for words. Just really sick at the performance tonight. They battled back, but they didn't do enough to win. And these are the losses. At 11:07 at night, keep you up at night. I'm gonna have a tough time sleeping after this one because the chances were there, even how poorly they had to come back and get a win in this one. And ultimately, their mistakes that they've seen all season caught up with them. So it's been absolutely a brutal loss. And let's get to some comments before we even get started. D1 Honor said, shaking my head. Yeah, I think a lot of people were feeling that. It was a frustrating night overall. You look at the late start that we had and the coming out of the halves and coming out of the start of the game, we didn't play good. And it was just a really poor performance tonight from the Mountaineers. Coop said ridiculous. Um, yeah, it's just absolutely disheartening. Yeah, this is the most devastating basketball loss I can remember in a while. Probably similar to the Colorado game last year, but I think we all assumed after the Colorado game last year in the Big 12 tournament that we would be in. Um, this one hurts. It just does. Right when we're starting to get national respect, right when we're starting to get national attention, we go out and lay an absolute egg against a team that hasn't won a road game in 399 days. I think they've won one game since Christmas. And you get them on a long road trip, a 3-hour time difference, and you can't beat that team. It's extremely disheartening. So I completely agree with your comment. It's just a tough one to swallow. So we'll talk about it here tonight. Coop said, well, NIT, here we come. And Mountaineer Max at NIT bound. Yeah, I gotta be honest, man. I have no interest in watching the NIT. At that point, I think I'm turning the page to baseball season, especially with the climate that we're in currently with college sports. And we're gonna have what, 3 guys back on the roster next year. It's not like you're building for next year, really. It's gonna be a completely different roster. So don't have much interest, not to be a homer, in watching these guys in the NIT. Unfortunately, I'm sure if you guys would feel a similar way, but that's how I feel. David McIntyre says we are unwatchable at times, like long periods of time. Yeah, it's just frustrating. It's you try not to get frustrated, and you try to remember that they're college kids and stuff like that. But it is extremely frustrating when you're not hitting the basics, like your free throws, you're turning the ball over. Even the way the game ended tonight, and the slow starts, it's just a predictable West Virginia performance in some ways. I'm not sure how you guys felt about tonight, but I kind of felt coming into this one it'd be a dogfight and West Virginia would find a way to win. And ultimately, their mistakes, their mistakes caught up with them tonight. And I think that is the safest way to say it, is that this team's mistakes tonight caught up with them. And some of the issues we've seen all year have caught up to them. The slow starts, the missed free throws, and all that being said, how we feeling tonight, man? I just talked for about 4 minutes about this gut wrenching loss. You took off your West Virginia gear because I FaceTimed you before. You're that sick. You took off the West Virginia gear, huh?
Yeah, it was just just a season. I would say a season crushing loss potentially. Obviously, quad three loss. Just really didn't look good at all. I mean, seemed like Utah wanted this game more. I mean, you can't keep going down 14, 15 points and expect to just come back every time, right? And eventually it was going to bite you, and it did tonight.
You can go down 14, 15 points if you have a potent offense,
Right.
but
Yeah.
not with this team and what they're. Like I said, I felt like I said at the top of the show, I felt like they're their play has caught up with them. With the slow starts, the missed free throws, the turnovers. It's been really bad. Um, Kevin Varney said the joke is on them, my friend. I bet on Utah. I honestly, God wanted to lose the bet, but I was really good odds, and I knew. Yeah, the one time the Giants played the Eagles like years back, that I saw the writing on the wall, and I knew it was going to be a giant collapse. They have uh, did that just to make me feel better, So whatever makes you feel better, For me, this one's tough. It's just a tough loss. Kenny Evans said, "Wow, sad." So we're going to talk about this tonight. We're going to get into all these things, and let's just hop right into the first half. So admit you can't make it up, man. Slow start. It was like 5-0. I'm like, all right, it's not gonna say a slow start yet. It ballooned all the way up to 18-3.
Yeah, I mean, pretty sad. I mean, and then it was kind of a shame because I thought, at least against UCF, they came out pretty decently to start the game, and just hoping they would kind of change their ways of us, with the slow starts, and they didn't, unfortunately, and eventually, Utah's not a great team by any means, but eventually you just can't keep going down, double digits and just expect to come back because, like you said, the offense isn't there, and they got close, but yeah. I mean, you deserve to lose if you keep doing that.
Ross Hodge was hot, man. He called a timeout right away. He was very hot. Kevin Varney, nice for you though. That's a nice day for you. I'll take that if I were you. Nice for you. Good. That's nice. Um, James Okonkwo homecoming event, and he, especially at the end of the game, he was making some big plays for them, especially rebounding the ball.
Yeah, I mean, he was pretty aggressive down there, and I actually didn't know he was on Utah. To be honest, like when you mentioned that to me, that caught me off guard because
I was listening. I was listening to the varsity app like an hour before the game. I was, doing my bottles, washing the bottles, doing the parent duties, and listening to the game for an hour. I'm like, oh, former Mountaineer James Okonkwo. I'm like, wait, he plays for Utah. He's played for like UNC, Akron, and now Utah. I had no idea that he was on the Utah Utes, and he made his presence known. I'm sure he's got to be the happiest person in that locker room right now, based on the fact he came back to Morgantown and got the dub, and basically ruined West Virginia's chances at the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I think he has some bragging rights for sure, and yeah, just a awful loss. Out of all the games remaining on the schedule, I feel like this one you just really couldn't lose because it was a quad three, and the rest of the games are quad one and quad two games. So yeah, just awful. Made Utah probably look a lot better than they are.
West Virginia got absolutely smoked in the paint early on in this game, defensively. That was a cause for concern. The sloppy turnovers. I mean, we got called for a travel. On our own side. There was a few times we just couldn't possess the ball, and we were just throwing it all over the place. I mean, you saw the turnover at the end of the game. We basically had a chance to. They gave us a break with a missed free throw, and we had plenty of time to get it up the court and take a shot and give it a prayer. And before you even get a chance to do that, you throw it away.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of a bad throw from Jasper Floyd. I don't know, just some miscommunication between him and Honorhoff. But yeah, towards the end of the game, there was a lot of indecisive play, kind of figuring out who's going to shoot, who's going to make a play, and it's just sloppy and it's just not winning basketball, right? So, yeah, I mean, really bit them hard.
Yeah, Utah was quicker to the ball. If you look at the loose balls, and Utah rebounding, they got 20. They out rebounded West Virginia in the first half, 23-12. So they looked like the hungrier team. They looked
Yeah.
like the team that was backs on the wall compared to West Virginia.
100%. I mean, they were getting a lot of offensive rebounds, and yeah, they just play with the more sense of urgency, which is they have 9 wins. They have 1 win in the Big 12, so it's like West Virginia has everything to play for right now, and they didn't look like they wanted it more.
I wonder if it was more of West Virginia just being tight, just because they knew like this was the one game that was like a gimme the rest of the way. The rest of them, you might as well flip a coin. This was the one like, all right, you can't lose this one. And I wonder if that was in their head a little bit. Ross Hodge actually said in his post game press conference on Saturday, "We got this one. We can't give it back on Wednesday." Well, they've given it back, and I'm not sure if we'll ever regain um, our momentum or trust from the committee now. It's really tough. DJ Thomas headed to the locker room. I did not see him return. Missed free throws continues to be a problem. I have to look at the box score. Let me look at it real quick and see what they shot tonight from the free throws. They shot 47% from the free throw. They went 7 for 15. So you missed 8 free throws. You end up losing by 5 points. If you make half your free throws or more than half your free throws, you are at least tied in this game, and
Yeah.
you get a win. So it's that to me, that's the most frustrating thing in all of this. I mean, I don't think there was a single time in this game where we went 2 for 2 at the free throw line.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. I mean, especially after a game where you shot, well from the foul line. They missed 3 free throws against UCF, and obviously, they won that game. And free throws have been an issue throughout the season. I mean, we've said it time and time again. And if you want to win and you want to get to the tournament, you just can't happen, right? So,
Especially when you're down, especially when you're trying
yeah,
to, especially when you start down 18-3, you make those free throws. That comeback's a lot easier when you're just going 1 for 2 at the line or 0 for 2 from the line. And especially with a team that's struggling, your best player Huff has been so inconsistent this year in Big 12 play. It's not a recipe. Eventually, you are going to get stuck with that. And that's what happened with the Baylor loss and the Utah losses. You've now your mistakes are catching up with you.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you can't just keep doing the same stuff and the same bad habits and expect to just come back every time. You're just not good enough, right? And you're not deep enough. And eventually it's just, it caught up to them, and eventually you're going to lose these games, right? So, I mean, Utah deserved to win tonight, plain and simple.
West Virginia got going when driving to the basket. I thought that was I think that was the key for the comeback tonight, was driving to the basket. And once they started driving to the basket and getting to the paint, then the offense really started to get going. And there was a few times where I wish they would have actually driven the paint more. There was a chance for West Virginia to tie the game, and Honor Huff takes like this deep three, and it just wasn't the time for it. So I thought that was a positive, was them driving to the paint. But again, another slow start coming out of the half.
Yeah, Utah hits a three, I believe, to start the half, and it just kind of trying to figure out who's going to kind of get things going. I thought Chance Moore was the only guy really tonight who kind of was decent enough on offense. Everybody else pretty much struggled or was quiet, and yeah,
Dude,
I mean,
this is an example of like the ball just not bouncing the way. Do you remember the first half? Lorient tried to dunk the ball, and it looked like a sure thing dunk, and it just flew out of the rim, or it just was that kind of night. Major foul trouble for Harlan. I thought that was a major factor in Utah winning the glass, especially in the first half, is that, he was playing with 3 or 4 fouls most of the night, and they had to put him on the bench.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's dealt with some foul trouble in certain games, and then DJ Thomas obviously gets hurt. So yeah, really, was kind of thin down there, and I think Utah capitalized, especially on the glass, like you said.
Dude, the amount of the amount of times we fouled them shooting a 3 ball
Yeah.
was sickening, and then the amount of replays that this game took was also sickening. They had 4 replays in this game. I felt like I was watching a college football game. And then again, there were just some sloppy fouls out there where you didn't need to. You could have let them shoot the ball, and all of a sudden, you give them a 3 shots at the line. It's absolutely deadly, and it's going to hurt your chances at a comeback. I thought Utah's ball movement, man, really caused fits in the start of the second half. West Virginia rotationally adjusted to it a lot better later in the second half, and that's what gave him a chance to come back in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Utah did, a better job of moving the ball. I thought West Virginia the other night, they looked pretty good moving the ball, but I think they took a step back again tonight. And yeah, the offense just really, I don't know, it's all over the place sometimes. Like sometimes I feel like they're shooting too many jumpers. Sometimes they're getting inside, they're doing some good things, and they revert back to their old ways. And yeah, they fouled a couple of times. They fouled a 3-point shooter. You can't do that multiple times in a game and expect to win. It's like that's like the sin in basketball, right? To foul a 3-point shooter, and they did it twice. So
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know how you expect to win games like that.
No, Chance Moore provided a spark, especially in the middle of that game. Chance Moore. If they don't have Chance Moore tonight, I think they get run out of the gym. I truly believe that. Chance Moore deserves a lot of credit for putting his head down and getting to the paint. And then let's talk about the end of the game, man. It almost reminded me, the end of the games in a different scenario, almost reminded me of the Clemson and Ohio State games. Not because we had the lead in this game, but because we just fell apart at the end of those games. Like, we weren't making smart plays. The indecisiveness on possessions late in the game was mind-boggling.
Yeah, it feels like nobody wants to make a play. I mean, it's like, you're driving to the basket, you're making one too many passes, just shoot the ball. Just say I want to win the game, and somebody has to step up. I mean, it felt like nobody wanted to kind of take that role. It's like, I mean, you're playing and you're trying to play for a tournament bid here. Like, show some urgency. And
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
No, and then the other thing too is Huff was fouled, in my opinion, on that 3-point shot
Yeah.
to tie attempt. But whether he was fouled or not, it's basketball. They're going to miss calls. Sometimes they're not going to make that call in that situation. Everyone in the stadium, everyone at home, knew who was taking that shot, and they defended him well. The book is out on Honor Huff, and the book is out on how West Virginia uses them, and ultimately, guys, we talked about it a bunch. West Virginia did not deserve to win this game. They just did not, and I think the alarming thing is we started so well at home. Now you've lost 3 in a row at home, and you've lost 2 of them to Utah and Baylor. The Texas Tech game, fine, but protecting your home court, all of a sudden you're not protecting home court, and you're having late starts. It just doesn't look like a team that deserves to go to the NCAA tournament at this point. I hate to say that because I think fondly of this team. It's been a fun season, but I think this might be the straw that breaks the camel's back tonight.
Yeah, I agree. With the Honor Huff 3, I do think he was fouled, but I mean, I just didn't like the shot attempt, right? I didn't like the shot selection. I felt like
everybody knew he was going to shoot it.
He could have gotten it better. I don't know if they had a timeout at that point, but like, hey, try to figure out something better than that, where he can get a good look at least. But yeah, I agree. I mean, they've had some bad habits throughout the season, and it's going to eventually catch up to them, and it did. And it's just it's a shame because they had a very good win against UCF, comeback victory, but can't just keep going down 14-15 in the Big 12 and expect to just come back and win.
It's just the most West Virginia thing ever. Like, anytime we have it, it's just, that's the way it's been for West Virginia fans, is anytime we have a glimpse of hope about something, it comes crashing down. And that's been the theme for the last 7 years is, hey, West Virginia's back. It's late February, baby. We're in it. We're in the conversation. Well, you just had your first quad 3 loss of the home at the season. I don't know how to come back from this. I think you'd have to probably run the table and probably win out the rest of the regular season.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you have a big road stretch coming up with TCU, Oklahoma State. You probably not. I mean, before I was thinking you get one of those 2, but you might have to get both of them now. And then you have K-State, UCF, and BYU. But yeah, I mean, this is just one you couldn't lose. I mean, it's probably it's the worst team of the bunch remaining, and it's just they have 9 wins and 1 Big 12 win. So it's just it's a horrible loss, and yeah, very very unfortunate because I thought West Virginia had everything to kind of play for, and they didn't.
Anytime you shoot 47% from the free throw line, you deserve to lose.
Yeah.
Anytime you get rebounded by 10, you deserve to lose. We won points in the paint, which was good, which is surprising because in the beginning of the game, they weren't getting anything. They shot, what they shoot from 3, 22% from 3, 5 for 23.
Yeah.
Looking at the stats here, Chance Moore was your leading scorer with 12, Lorient with 10. Or sorry, Honor Huff had 12 too. But he was just 4 for 13 from 3. Rebounds was led by Lorient. Tell you what, that the number 0 for them was really solid for them tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they had a couple guys, obviously get going and, do some things from the perimeter. But it just looked like overall Utah wanted this game more. They looked like they played harder. They were getting the loose balls. It it was the one of those type of games. It was, it was going to be an ugly game potentially, and I was hoping West Virginia would kind of find a way to have a comfortable victory coming off a good win against UCF. But I guess that was too much to ask for. But yeah, it's just it's a rough one. You can't really sugarcoat it.
Yeah, it stinks. It's just deflating. Like I said, it's deflating loss. Um, I don't know. I'm not sure how you feel about the rest of the season, but for me, it just is definitely not as exciting now. Things could change if you win the next three. I mean, you still have the next three games are quad one games. So if you swept them, you could probably get yourself back in that conversation of being on the bubble.
Yeah.
But the clock's ticking. There wasn't much room for error,
No.
and hopefully this didn't deflate their bubble. But you'd have to like I said, the next three you're gonna have to at least take two of the next three or all three to give yourself a chance. It'll be interesting to see how the other people react to this, how three guys reacts to this, and all the other creators and media members, and how devastating this loss really was for West Virginia. So,
Yeah.
Amit, you got any last comments
Yeah.
tonight?
Really, really tough loss, really bad loss coming off a good win. Probably one of the top two wins of the season against UCF. So really was hoping they would come out better tonight, and they just looked pretty bad. But it was a lot of the same habits that we've seen throughout the season. So like we said, eventually that's going to catch up to you. It did tonight, and it's a potentially a season crushing loss. So let's see what happens the rest of the way. There's still some opportunity, but you're gonna have to be pretty almost perfect the rest of the way.
West Virginia went from having their best win of the season, in my opinion, to their worst
Oh,
loss
100%.
in back-to-back games. You can't make it up. All right, Mitt, it was great talking to you. Get some rest. We'll talk to you guys next time on the Jersey Ear Show.